What I heard was that bones and flesh grow together. But if you remembered, when I asked Hijab to name the stages, he said, and you'll see the flashback on our picture on Soko Films, he said that bones came before flesh.
He did.
That's what he said.
Yes.
So he said the bones came before flesh, and then he quoted a book that said exactly the opposite. And he thought that I wouldn't notice. And he thought that I wouldn't notice.
Tactic.
But I did notice because I have examined this sophistry before. And I understand its rudimentary tactic. The idea is to blind you with lots of big sounding words. Let me just clarify.
Let me speak, please.
Let me just clarify.
Clarify, Bob.
In another part of the Quran, so we read 23, 12 to 14.
We did.
But in Surah 2, Ayah 259, it also says exactly the same. It's towards the end of the verse.
Yeah, I know. There's two qira'ats in that one.
Yeah.
ثم ننشزها عظمة and ثم ننشرها عظمة.
Right. Okay. Let me give the English.
But you won't get what both qira'ats in English.
Let me give the English, bro. Yeah.
So that's why you need
I am
somebody.
still making my point, Hijab.
It's fine, bro. You
Hijab,
can take your time.
still making my point.
Take your time, please.
Yep. Okay. So, in Surah 2:259, it reads.
Yeah, please.
Because if I get to it.
Do you want me to help you out with that?
No, I can find it. Thank you. It's just a case of.
It's not about embryology, you know that.
It said. Now notice, it said it's not about embryology.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's actually look at whether it talks about embryology.
Okay, yeah.
It says this. And thus we have made of you a sign for the people. Look at the bones, how we bring them together and clothe them with flesh. When this was clearly shown to him, he said, I know that Allah is able to do all things. No, don't interrupt. You insisted that I didn't interrupt. I'm going to say everything I've got to say. You've got to listen. So the fact of the matter is, in two places, the Quran says bones, then flesh. Hijab said bones, then flesh, and then quoted a book that said flesh and bones grow together. That's what he did. And he hoped you wouldn't notice. Now he also talked about ossification. He also talked about ossification. The reality is, unless Hijab wants to say that he is an embryologist, it is clear from every work of embryology that bones are not immediately ossified. They begin as cartilage. The Quran does not mention cartilage. He said, have you got a problem with that, when he quoted the lexicon? And I said, yes, I do. But he insisted that he finish all of his many points. Are you honestly telling me that Allah doesn't have a word for cartilage when he wants to talk about cartilage? And he doesn't have a word for bones when he wants to talk about bones? No, you're going to listen. He's losing his patience now. And look at the interruption.
He was interrupting you. He was interrupting you.
Calm down.
Sorry. So,
tell me when you're finished.
yeah, I'm going to. But I'm going to finish all my points. Like you mentioned a lot. I've tried. No, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt.
I'm not interrupting.
Stop interrupting. Just stop interrupting. Right. So, the reality is, and I just challenge you to check me now. Do bones, what is a bone? A bone is an ossified cartilage. There is a reason why we have distinct words for cartilage and bones. And what you're saying is, Allah is inaccurate in his description because he can't use a word for cartilage. He uses one that could mean cartilage and could mean bones, or could mean the two things together. If he means the two things together, then it's an error, because cartilage is not bone. If it could be cartilage or could be bone, then it's an error, because it should be cartilage, not bone. So either way, the Quran is wrong. Now, he said, Hijab, Are you impressed at my memory of how I've remembered all your arguments? He said,
What did he say?
how dare you, a layman in philosophy, a layman in Arabic, a layman in embryology, have the audacity to stand in front of me. Do you all remember him saying that? Do you see, he's not the only one with a good memory. Let's just correct a fact. He came and stood in front of me, not the other way around. But secondly, he is a layman in embryology. He is a layman on this topic, but I'll tell you someone who isn't a layman in embryology.
You're a layman in Arab.
Here's someone who isn't a layman in embryology.
Can I say something? Interruption.
So, someone who isn't a layman in embryology is Dr. P. Myers, a human biologist from the University of Minnesota.
Okay.
He describes the Quran's understanding of embryology as follows:
Read it.
vague and fuzzy and basically stealing from Aristotle. That's what a real embryologist says about the Quran.
Stealing. What does he know about the Quran?
Now, why? This is the interesting point.
Yeah.
Why does he say the Quran is stealing from Aristotle?
Why?
Now, personally, I think he's wrong. I think there were Arab doctors at the time who were educated in medicine. But if you listen to Aristotle's words, listen to this.
Read it, Bob.
This is quoting Aristotle's work on the parts of animals.
Okay.
Aristotle lived 350 years before Christ, which makes him 1,000 years before Muhammad.
I thought it was 337.
And listen, no, 350. And this is what he says. Stop interrupting. This is embryology according to Aristotle.
Bob.
Listen.
Say.
Around about the bones and attached to them by the fibrous bonds grow fleshy parts, for the sake of which the bones exist. Does that sound familiar? Bones, then flesh. That was a common understanding at the time of Muhammad.
Yeah, you're right.
There is nothing miraculous about what the Quran says,
Nothing.
and the Quran gets it wrong.
Thank you very much. Now it's my turn to respond, but I do think we should time it, by the way, because we don't know.
Oh, now you want it timed?
No, I do think so.
I agree, let's time it.
What do you want? 5 minutes each?
5 minutes each. Can we get a timer, please?
5 minutes each or 4
And you've
minutes?
got to be willing to show your phone to both of us on request.
5 minutes is better.
Are you willing to show your phone to both of us on request? Okay.
All right. Now, before I actually,
Let him get it.
Be just on
Yeah,
the
he's going to touch it.
questions. So you said 5 minutes.
it's
5
okay.
minutes each.
We got this.
Okay, go. Yeah.
Muhammed Hijab.
Let's read it again, because I don't think this man has good comprehension skills. He said that, no, he doesn't have good comprehension. This is the problem. We're dealing with someone who can't understand. He said that it said that both of them are forming at the same time. No, it doesn't say that. It says soon after the cartilaginous models of the bone have been established. So first what we have, cartilaginous models of the bones have been established, yeah? Then it says what? The myogenic cells, which have now become myoblasts, yes, aggregate to form muscle masses. Now let me explain what it's saying here. It's saying that you have cartilage, or these cartilaginous models, and then you have the myoblasts, which are myogenic cells, which then become myoblasts that are coming on top. Is that what it says, yeah? Everybody knows who has done even a little bit of reading in embryology that myoblasts are the cells that are responsible for muscle growth. That is a fact of embryology. Go to any book of embryology that you like. It is responsible for flesh. So he's saying that it's saying it at the same time. No, it's not. It's saying first the cartilaginous models have been established, and then after that you have the myogenic cells, which are responsible for flesh, that are coating them. Exactly as the Quran states, if you want to take the chronological reading. As I've said though, that's not the only interpretation of the Quran, because there's fa at-taqibiyya, the fa which comes as like thumma, which is for chronology, and fa as fa as-sababiyya, or a fa that's not necessarily like that, فَكَسَوْنَ الْعِظَامَ لَحْمَ, that we have clothed the bone with muscle. So that's point number one, completely and utterly refuted. He said it said, and this is false. It's demonstrably false. He said it at the same time. Where is in what I read saying the same time? Can you read and understand? Do you understand that myogenic cells are responsible for flesh? Do you understand that ossification is responsible for bones? But he said ossification continues. Do you know when it continues until? It continues until adulthood, by the way.
Correct.
Yeah, so what's that got to do with our discussion? He said that no, he could have used the word ghudruf or the word specifically for cartilage. That's not necessarily a good description. You know why? Because had there been any bone that started, then that would eliminate. So all the word azam includes cartilage and bone, whereas the word ghudruf is cartilage only and not bone, so it would exclude the bone, which would be less specific. Point number three, he mentioned Aristotle. Aristotle said in his treatises that a woman, she has menstruation blood, contributes to the embryological process. I want you to find me one verse of the Quran or one hadith of the Prophet where that is in fact copied. If he copied from Aristotle, why is he not copying that? Aristotle also said that the baby is formed in its entirety and then it just gets bigger and bigger. That's completely against the Quran and the Sunnah. How comes Aristotle did not mention nutfat and amshaj, whereby both of the mixed fluids are there? Where the Prophet Muhammad he mentioned the hadith. Listen to this. The Prophet Muhammad mentions لَيْسَ الْوَلَدُ مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلِّهِ, that the boy or the child is not from the entire fluid. Meaning now, what is the Quranic picture? Chapter number 76, verse number 2. إِنَّا خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِن نُطْفَةٍ أَمْشَاجٍ نَبْتَلِيهِ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا. That we have made the human being from a combined mixture of fluids and to test him, and we have made him hearing and seeing. So wait a minute, it's saying it's mixed, and wait a minute, the Prophet said it's a part of that mixed fluid, not all of it, which is, we know, it's one cell of the man and one cell of the woman. There's nothing like that in the Bible at all, my friend. You have no chance. There's nothing like that in Aristotle's work at all, my friend. There is nothing like that in Galen's work at all, my friend. And there's nothing like that in the Talmud at all, my friend. How did he know this? Where did he get this from? Did he get it from the Bible, where it says that human being is made like curd or cheese? Where it says in Job chapter 9, verse number 6, that the earth is flat and has pillars, and no one in the patristic, listen, no one in the patristic period for 300 years, not one, I claim now, has ever said that the earth is round based on the biblical narrative. Everyone was a flat earthist. John Chrysostom, when he done his exegesis of the Bible, and others. And if you look at Origin of Alexandria, he was a spiritualist and others. All of this shows that the Bible has no way of connecting with today's science, and the Quran does.
There's food! There's food! We can all do a shouting match.
Give him 5 minutes.
Right, okay. Ready? So, ladies and gentlemen, there was a lot there. Again, the hijab went on to say, firstly, we need to establish something, that even in ancient times, the Greeks knew that the world was round. This is not something new. It is an Enlightenment myth that people in the past thought that the world was flat. And I won't take a lecture from Muhammed Hijab about the shape of the earth when the Quran says that the earth is stretched out like a carpet. Well, have you ever seen a round carpet? Or are carpets flat when they are stretched out? So Muhammad has just chucked his Quran under the bus. No, he went on to talk about the fact that the Quran mentions that the child is created from the fluid of the woman and the fluid of the man. This is an error. It is not a fluid, it is an egg. It is a cell. It isn't a fluid. So he has just exposed the Quran for another error, because as the Quran says, and we'll quote it, and we made the nutfa, thank you, into a clot. Sorry, here we go. Thereafter we made him, the offspring, as a nutfa, drops of male and female sexual discharge. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if I have to tell you that an egg is not a fluid, it is an egg, a cell, then you don't know what a fluid is, and it would appear neither does your God. But firstly, it says a drop of male fluid.
It's too hot.
A drop of male fluid, ladies and gentlemen, contains thousands of sperms. So the Quran is also wrong there, because a drop of what we would consider a drop of sperm has thousands of the cells of sperms within it, if not tens of thousands. But it's only one sperm that creates the human embryo. Furthermore, this idea of females contributing
It's not new.
to
A new
females contributing to the genesis of another human being is not unique to the Quran. There were other Greek philosophers who taught embryology who believed exactly the same. Now he said, what about the idea of the woman's blood contributing to the birth of a human embryo? He objected to the idea of the menstruation blood, and obviously he's right to do so. But the Quran says this, then we made the nutfa into a clot of coagulated blood. A clot of coagulated blood is not what an embryo is ever. A clot of coagulated blood is dead blood. It is stopping based upon a cut. It is stopping rupture. It is stopping bleeding. So the Quran is wrong there. So now we've got, in addition to the embryology error, we also have the error that the Quran says the world is flat, like a carpet, stretched out. Thank you. And that is also an error. Remember, he condemned the church fathers for being flat earthers, but the Quran is a flat earther. It describes the world as being stretched out like a carpet. Now, he goes on to talk about the fact that the ossification, he quoted his book again, and he's trying to mislead you, because that full quote, do you honestly believe that bones grow without any skin or flesh? Where's the photo evidence? There's no such thing. Flesh and bone grow together. Notice the interruption. It grows at the same time. That is the conclusion of embryologists. And we've got two facts now that the Quran gets wrong. A flat earth and embryology.
All right. I want to break a news to everybody. You know P.Z. Myers, the one he quoted as the embryology authority, who said that the earth was inaccurate. Do you remember that one? That the Quran is inaccurate. You remember the one he quoted? He retracted that statement 1 week ago. And it's on the public record that he retracted that statement 1 week ago, and he said, in fact, I retract this point. That P.Z. Myers, the person here. Point number one. Point number two is this. The main point he was saying is that the book doesn't say that the cartilaginous models come before the myogenic cells form around them. I've quoted it again, and there is a chronological, sequential, step by step, which completely negates what you're saying. Point number three, there is an interpretation which says both are happening at the same time. So all of these things, you have nothing for them. He then talked about the flat earth. Here's what I say, and it is a challenge to the Christian world, not just you, because you are insignificant. You are challenged to the Christian world. Be quiet, don't interrupt. There is not one church father in the first 300 years of Christianity that ever looked at even one verse in the Bible and concluded that the earth is round. Whereas there are scholars in the first 300 years of Islam who looked at the Quran itself and deduced from that the earth is round. Ibn Munada being one of them, who Ibn Taymiyyah mentions in Kitab al-Arsh, and that is something that is there. Ibn Hazm being another one who quotes chapter 39 verse 5, يُكَوِّرُ اللَّيْلَ عَلَى النَّهَارِ وَيُكَوِّرُ النَّهَارَ عَلى اللَّيْلِ وَسَخَّرَ الشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ كُلٌّ يَجْرِي لِأَجْلِ مُسَمَّى. Chapter 39 verse 5. And listen, this is takwir, comes from the Arabic word kura, which means ball. Be quiet, my friend. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, my man.
Calm
now,
down, Hijab.
having said this, now
You're getting excited, mate. Calm down.
no, it's not finished. Be quiet. Ali, be quiet. Here's what I was saying. Look, listen to this. Listen to it. Be quiet. Listen. Now, what have the Jews said about the Bible? They believed in something called metal plate theory. Look what he said. That in the Midrashim, which is the exegesis of the Bible, for how many hundreds of years?